Journey to the West, an audio drama series. Chapter 40, Part 2. We speak of great sage Sun who looked up to find the red cloud dispersed again. So he asked his master to mount the horse and resume the journey. Sanzang asked, "You just said a spirit was coming. Why are we resuming the journey again?" Xingzhou replied, "This is another monster spirit who is passing by. They dare not mess with us." Angered, the elder said, "This unruly monkey is playing tricks on me. When a monster was present, you said it was fine. When we are at a peaceful place like this, you frighten me with constant shouts about some monster spirit. There's more falsehood than truth, and you have no sense of what matters or not. You grabbed my foot and pulled me off the horse, but now claim it was just a monster spirit passing by. If I was hurt from the fall, would you even feel bad about it?" All of this, Xingzhou said. "Master, don't you blame me. If we hurt your limbs, it wouldn't be too hard to find a cure. But if a monster spirit took you away, where are we supposed to find you?" Sanzang became so outraged and resentful that he was about to recite the tightening band spell. It was thanks to Sha Monk's desperate pleas that he got back on the horse to continue the journey instead. But before he made himself comfortable, he once again heard someone call, "Save me, master!" The elder looked up to find a naked little child hung from a tree. Reining in the horse, he scolded Xingzhou. "What a scoundrel you unruly monkey are! You haven't got any sense of kindness, only focused on making trouble and violence. I kept saying that the voice came from a human, but he insisted that it was a monster. Look for yourself and tell me if that isn't a person hanging from a tree." The great sage saw his master blaming him and the look on his face. On one hand, he could not do any trick to change the situation, and on the other hand, he did fear the tightening band spell. So he kept his head down without uttering a reply. The tongue monk thereby came below the tree and pointed with his whip, asking, "Where are you from, child? For what reason are you hung here? Tell me so I can help save you." Alas! This clearly was a monster spirit's transformation. But the master was of fleshly eyes and a mortal body, so he could not tell. The monster heard him ask, so he continued with his lies and said with teary eyes, "Oh, master, to the west of this mountain is one Kusongjian, the withered pine ravine. By the ravine lies a village, and that is where my family is from. My grandfather's last name is Hong, meaning red. Because he accumulated a lot of gold and silver, he had a fortune worth millions, and was named Hong Bai Wan, meaning red million. He has passed away from old age a long time ago, and my father inherited his estate. Recently, due to lavish spending, our wealth has slowly dwindled. My father therefore changed his name to Hong Shi Wan, meaning red 100,000. He then focused on making connections with outstanding men in all walks of life, lending them his money in the hope of earning from interest. Who could have thought that those crooks swindled him, costing him both the capital and interest? My father then vowed to never lend anyone anything again. Those borrowers were out of debts due to poverty, so they banded together to form a gang. Lighting fire and wielding weapons, they burst into my home in broad daylight. They robbed all our money and possessions before murdering my father. Then they found my mother to be quite a beauty, so they kidnapped her away to be their wife. At the time, my mother could not let go of me, so she kept me in her arms. In tears and trembling, we followed the bandits. Who would have thought that when we came to this mountain, they wanted to kill me? It was only due to my mother's desperate pleas that I was spared death by the blade. Instead, they hung me from a tree with ropes and left me to die from cold and hunger. The bandits have taken my mother away to who knows where, and I have been hung here for 3 full days without anyone passing by. I wonder which lifetime offered this merit, that I could come across you, elderly master, in this life. If you could be so merciful to save me and bring me home, Even if I have to sell myself into slavery, I will do everything I can to thank you for the favor. I dare not forget, even when yellow sand covers my face in death." 三藏 heard his words and took them for the truth. So he instructed 八戒 to untie the rope and help him down. The fool had no sense of who this was, so he went over and was about to free the child. 行者 was standing aside when he could not help but shout, "You unruly creature! Someone here actually recognizes you for who you are. If you insist on messing around with falsehood and fool us with lies, given how your properties are robbed, father killed and mother kidnapped by bandits, who are we supposed to hand you to after we save you? What will you give us as thanks? Your lies are not adding up." The monster heard that and became frightened. He realized that the great sage was a capable one, and he secretly noted in his mind. Meanwhile, still trembling, he said, crying, "Master, even though my parents have gone and estate vanished, we do still have land and fields untouched, as well as living relatives." 行者 asked, "What sort of relatives do you have?" The monster answered, "My maternal grandfather lives south to the mountain, while my aunt resides north of the ridge. Li Si from the source of the ravine is an uncle-in-law on my mother's side. Hong San from inside the forest is my distant uncle. I've still got uncles and cousins living near my manor. If elderly master is willing to save me and bring me back to the manor, once I meet up with my relatives, I will tell everyone in detail how you saved me. We will heavily reward you by selling some of our fields and properties." 八戒 heard that and blocked 行者, saying, "Big brother, this is just a kid. What are you interrogating him for? He's right. The bandits only took the movable valuables. How could they possibly take away the house and fields? If he tells everything to his relatives, even if we have enormous appetites, we could not possibly eat up the worth of 10 fields. We might as well save him." The fool only had food on his mind. What regard did he have for right or wrong? So he cut apart the ropes with a knife and freed the monster. The monster came toward the Tang monk's horse and kept on kowtowing in tears. The elder had a heart of mercy, so he said, "Child, come ride on the horse. I will take you home." The monster said, "Oh, master, my limbs are numb from the hanging and my torso is in great pain. Moreover, I'm from the countryside, so I'm not used to riding horses." The Tang monk then asked 八戒 to carry the child on his back, but the monster wiped his eyes and said, "Master, my skin is fragile from the cold. I dare not have this master carry me. His snout is long and ears huge. The bristles behind his head are tough and too prickly for me." The Tang monk suggested, "Have Sha monk carry you then." The monster once again wiped his eyes to say, "Master, when those bandits robbed my house, they all had paint on their faces and wore fake beards as they held their weapons. I'm thoroughly terrified by them, so seeing this master with his gloomy face, my soul is nowhere to be found. I dare not have him carry me either." The Tang monk then asked Sun Xingzhe to carry him. Xingzhe chuckled and said, "I will carry him, I will." The monster was secretly pleased, so he had Xingzhe carry him without problem. Xingzhe dragged him to the roadside and weighed him a bit. He weighed only about 3 jin and a dozen liang, which would be around 2 kilograms. Xingzhe laughed and said, "You unruly monster are bound to die today. How dare you mess around right in front of Elder Sun? I recognize that you are one of those things." The monster said, "Master, I'm the child of a good family and suffer through such misfortune. What do you mean I am one of those things?" Xingzhe asked, "If you are the child of a good family, why are your bones this light?" The monster answered, "I have a smaller frame." Xingzhe asked, "How old are you?" The monster answered, "I am 7 years old." Xingzhe chuckled and said, "Even if you grow only 1 jin each year, you would at least weigh 7 jin by now. How could you weigh less than 4 jin? The master explained. I didn't have enough milk in my infancy. Xingzhe said, Fine then, I will carry you. If you need to relieve yourself, you need to inform me. And so San Zang walked in the front with Bajie and Sha Monk, while Xingzhe carried the child behind them as they all headed west. Great Sage Sun had the monster on his back, while his mind lamented over how the tongue monk had no sense of his hardship. Walking through such craggy mountain is hard enough without anything on you, yet you told Elder Sun to carry someone on my back. Forget the fact that this creature is a monster, even if he is a good person. He hasn't got parents now, and we have no idea who to carry him to. I would much rather throw him to his death. The monster had grown aware of this, so he did a magic trick and sucked 4 breaths of air from 4 directions before blowing them onto Xingzhe's back. Instantly, Xingzhe could feel enormous weight pressed on him. He laughed and said, Oh, my dear son, you are trying to press your elderly lord down with a trick of heavy weight. The monster heard that and feared the great sage would hurt him, so he left behind a corpse and escaped by unleashing his primal soul. Leaping up, he stood in the air as the weight on Xingzhe's back became heavier. The Monkey King became outraged and pulled the body over before hurling it against the roadside rock. The corpse was thrown into the shape of a meat patty. He was still worried the monster would go wild, so he pulled the 4 limbs off as well before discarding all the broken parts by the road. The monster witnessed everything from the air and couldn't help but feel fiery rage in his heart, saying, This monkey monk is terribly despicable. Even if I am a monster spirit intended to harm your master, you haven't seen me make any move yet. How could you hurt me like this? It's good that I planned ahead and escaped through spirit. Otherwise, you would have harmed a life for no reason. I might as well take the tongue monk right now. For every moment I spend waiting around, he will come up with more ways to go against me. Splendid monster. He created a violent gust in mid-air before loudly sending it off, throwing rocks and sand into the air. It was truly vicious. Splendid wind. Angrily it whipped up water and cloud. As dark gas blocked the light of sun, trees were uprooted and plum flowers flattened. Yellow sand blinded travelers while strange rocks damaged the road. Rolling through dimmed grounds, it caused every creature to howl through the mountains. The wind was blowing so hard that San Zang could barely stay on the horse. Bajie dared not look up while Sha Monk kept his head down and face covered. Great Sage Sun knew it was a wind brought about by the monster, so he quickly caught up to the others. But by the time he arrived, the monster had already snatched the tongue monk away with the wind. Without a trace of their whereabouts, he had no way of searching for them. In moments, the wind subsided and sunlight returned. Xingzhe went up to have a closer look, only to find the white dragon horse neighing in fright, while the luggage was thrown onto the ground. Bajie could be heard moaning as he crouched under a cliff and Sha Monk calling while squatting by the slope. Xingzhe shouted, Bajie! The fool recognized it was Xingzhe's voice, so he looked up and realized the wind had quieted down. Getting back on his feet, he seized Xingzhe and said, Big brother, it was some powerful wind. Sha Monk also came up to say, Big brother, that was a whirlwind. He then asked, Where is master? Bajie said, The wind came quite swiftly, so we all went in hiding and shielded our eyes from the wind. Master was lying on horseback too. Xingzhe asked, Then where is he now? Sha Monk said, He's one made of soft rush. I bet he was blown away by wind. Xingzhe said, Brothers, it's about time we disband. Bajie said, That's right, we should disband sooner than later. It's better if we each find our own ways from here. That business with West Heaven hasn't got an end to it. When will we ever get there? Sha Monk heard that and was shaken with astonishment. Numbed all over, he said, Elder brothers, what are you even saying? We have all sinned in our past lives. Owing to Guan Shiyin Bodhisattva bringing us to the good side, we were shaven and named before converting to the Buddha's fruit. We expressed willingness to protect the Tang monk all the way to the west so he can meet Buddha for scriptures while we compensate for our crimes with merit. We have come this far today. Shall we speak of giving up and talk about each finding our own ways? Wouldn't that be a violation of Bodhisattva's good fruit and a taint on our own character? That would draw everyone's mockery, for we started this without carrying it till the end. Xingzhe said, Brother, you are quite right too. Unfortunately, Master would not listen to me. Elder Sun has fire eyes and golden pupils, so I know good from evil. The wind just now was caused by that child hanging from the tree. I recognized that he was a monster spirit, but neither you two nor Master saw him for who he was. You took him for the child of a good family and had me carry him. Elder Sun plotted to trick him, but he kept me down with the trick of heavy weight. I then threw him to pieces, but he must have left behind an empty corpse before creating a whirlwind to snatch Master away. That's why I blame him for never listening to me. I felt disheartened, and that's the reason I suggested we disband. But if my wise younger brother has such faith, Elder Sun is put in a dilemma. Bajie, what do you intend to do now? Bajie said, I was just yapping without thinking. We really shouldn't disband. Big brother, we have no choice but to follow younger brother Sha's words. Let's go find that monster and save Master. Xingzhe then withdrew his anger and said happily, Brothers, we've got to stay united. Let's pack up the luggage and bring the horse. We will go find that monster in the mountains and rescue Tang monk. The three clung onto creepers and vines as they turned past slopes and streams. They covered 50 to 70 li but found nothing. No flying or walking creatures could be seen on the mountain, while the old cypress and pines were a common sight. Great Sage Sun was truly growing anxious, so he leapt up and jumped to a craggy peak, shouting, Change! He then transformed into the form of 3 heads and 6 arms, the same form he took when he wreaked havoc in heaven. His golden-hooped rod also tripled itself with a shake. Violently swinging it east and west, he kept on striking around. Bajie saw that and said, Sha monk, it's bad. Elder brother can't find Master, so he's throwing a fit. Xingzhe beat around for a while before a group of impoverished deities appeared. In drapes and rags, wearing trousers without crotches and pants without cuffs, they prostrated before the mountain, saying, Great Sage, mountain gods and tutelaries of soil are here to see you. Xingzhe asked, Why do you have so many mountain gods and tutelaries of soil? The deities kowtowed to answer, Reporting to you, Great Sage, that this mountain has the full title of 600里钻头号山, which means 600 li of all-headed howling mountain. We have 1 mountain god in charge of 10 li and 1 tutelary of soil in charge of the next 10 li. So in total there are 30 mountain gods and 30 tutelaries of soil. We were informed of your arrival yesterday, Great Sage, but we couldn't get everyone together in such short notice, hence our late reception. We beg that you pardon the crime of angering you, Great Sage. Xingzhe replied, I shall spare your crimes for now. Let me ask you, how many monster spirits are on this mountain? The deities answered, O kindred lord, there is only 1 monster spirit, but it is enough to have worn our heads bald. We hardly receive any incense and paper money now, not to mention any food as offering. We barely have enough clothes to cover our bodies and food to fill our mouths. How many more monster spirits do you think we can take? Xingzhe asked, Does this monster spirit live in the front of the mountain or behind it? The deities answered, Neither front nor behind. There is a ravine inside the mountain called the Withered Pine Ravine. By the ravine lies a cave named 火云洞, the Fire Cloud Cave. Inside the cave lives a monster king who is immensely powerful. Very often he takes us mountain gods and tutelaries of soil to his cave and makes us tend fire and guard the doors. At night we carry his bells and shout announcements. His imps also ask us for regular bribes. Xingzhe asked, You are all ghostly immortals of the world below. Where do you even get any money? The deities explained, It's precisely because we don't have any money for them that we resort to capturing some wild deer from time to time to pay them off. If we come up empty-handed, they wreck our temples and rip our clothes. All that harassment has made life impossible for us. We beseech the great sage to eliminate this monster for us and save the creatures of this mountain. Xingzhe asked, Since you are so bothered by his presence and often show up in his cave, do you know where this monster is from and what their name is? The deities answered, Speaking of him, great sage may be aware too. He's the son of the Bull Monster King and raised by his mother Luo Chanyu, Lakshasi. He has cultivated in Huoyanshan, the blazing flame mountain, for 300 years and mastered the true samadhi fire. It's quite powerful and fierce. The Bull Monster King ordered him to come guard this Haoshan, the Howling Mountain. His baby name is Honghaier, the Red Child. His title is Shengying Dawang, Great King Sage Baby. Xingzhe heard that and was filled with delight. He dismissed the tuileries of soil and mountain gods before returning to his original image and jumping off the peak. He told Bajie and Sha Monk, Relax, brothers, no need to worry about it, for Master will certainly not be harmed. The monster spirit is related to Elder Sun. Bajie chuckled and said, Big brother, don't you lie. You are from continent of the east, while he's from continent of the west. The two places are so far apart, with countless mountains and rivers in between, not to mention 2 oceans on the way. How is he related to you? Xingzhe explained. That group just now are the tuileries of soil and mountain gods of the local area. I asked for the origin of the monster. They told me he's the son of the Bull Monster King and raised by his mother, Luo Chanyu. His name is the Red Child and his title is Great King Sage Baby. Recall 500 years ago when Elder Sun wreaked havoc in the Heavenly Palace, I traveled through the famed mountains of the world and visited all the heroes across the land. The Bull Monster King once became sworn brothers with Elder Sun. We had 5 or 6 more Monster Kings around, but only Elder Sun was rather small in size. Hence we all addressed the Bull Monster King as our eldest brother. This monster spirit is the Bull Monster King's son, and I am an acquaintance of his father. When you think about it, I am actually his uncle. How dare he harm our master? Let's be on our way soon. Sha Monk laughed and said, Oh, big brother, as the idiom goes, 3 years without a visit renders any relative a stranger. You were apart from him for some 500 to 600 years. Never have you exchanged drinks of wine or any gift and invitation during holidays. How could he possibly acknowledge your relation to him? Xingzhe said, Why do you judge people like that? As the idiom goes, a piece of duckweed flows into the seas, for there is no place where we cannot meet. Even if he does not acknowledge our relations, he can at least keep my master from harm. I do not expect him to invite me to a banquet, but he is bound to return an intact Tang monk back to me. The 3 brothers settled their hearts of faith and dragged the white horse with luggage on its back as they made their way forward on the main road. Not minding whether it was day or night, they moved over 100 li before coming across a pine forest. A meandering ravine ran in the mist with clear running water flowing through. A stone bridge was built at the end of the ravine which led to a particular cave residence. Xingzhe said, Brothers, look at that place with rugged cliffs. It must be where the monster spirit lives. Let's have a fair discussion here and decide who shall stay to watch over the luggage and horse, and who shall go subdue the monster with me. Bajie said, Big brother, old boar hasn't got the composure to sit down. I shall go with you. Xingzhe said, Good, very good. He then instructed Sha Monk, Hide the horse and luggage deep in the forest and guard them carefully. Wait as the 2 of us head to the entrance and find master. Sha Monk took his orders as Bajie followed Xingzhe, each with their weapons in hand. We do not know what will become of their trip. Please wait until the next chapter.